What Jesus teaches us about fear: do not be afraid of the king of Babylon, whom you now fear. Do not be afraid of him, declares the Lord, for I am with you and will save you and deliver you from his hands. Jeremiah chapter 42, verse 11. What is fear basically? It's resistance towards thoughts. When unpleasant thoughts arise, we can take refuge either in thought itself, by thinking to solve the problem, or by escaping from it by engaging in other activities. But these are not the mature ways to deal with the problem. Let's understand what Jesus teaches us about fear. So, the two types of fear in the Bible. The entire Bible speaks about mainly two types of fear. One is the functional fear, or the survival fear. Other is the destructive fear, or dysfunctional fear. Quoting Proverbs chapter 19, verse 23, "Fear of the Lord leads to life, rest, peace, and contentment." It mentions about the relevance of spiritual connection with God. When we are much connected with God, it brings us the peace and contentment that we already have. Another kind of fear is destructive in nature. It affects our spiritual and material growth. 1 John chapter 4, verse 18 says, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear," because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. Here, love implies not the romantic love, but the universal love that God has given us to love everyone, irrespective of whether they made a scar in us or not. So there is no need to fear. When you give your love to someone, you will forget the wounds in you. When you are in perfect love, the love of God. Cured to death and insecurities of life, Romans chapter 8, verse 38 says, "And I am convinced that nothing can ever separate us from God's love, neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither our fears for today nor our worries about tomorrow. Not even the powers of hell can separate us from God's love." This passage explores the significance of God's love. As we are in a situation in constant anxiety and worries about the ongoing pandemic, these words act as a helping hand. These words give us the courage to face extreme situations in life. Whatever be the situation, God's love is infinite. Problems will affect only the outer part of our existence and not the inner part. Anxiety disorders and the refuge of now. Psalm chapter 23, verse 4 says, "Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil. For you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me." As mentioned earlier, pandemic not only affects our physical health, but our mental health as well. When we are in these kinds of hard times, we must plunge into our essential being. The more we remember God in these times, it's a great medicine to our anxiety disorder. Fear is not to be resisted or to be run away from, but we understand fear and all its intricate manifestations with devotion to God, then fear disappears into thin air. I hope this helps you with battling fear in your life and how Jesus teaches us about fear. Take care.